Can you please tell the readers of La Cueva del Erizo, how did you write your first short story?
I studied mathematics in high school and was actually supposed to study to be an engineer in the university, but during my compulsory army service I found myself working in shifts in an army base, and during one of those long shifts in which I was completely on my own, I've written my first story, which was 1 page long. And when I was able to leave my base, I went to my older brother wanting him to read the story, and my brother read the story while walking his dog. When he finished reading the story, I saw that he was overwhelmed with emotions. There were tears in his eyes. And at the same time, I also saw the dog was crapping on the pavement next to him. And my brother said to me, "This story is so beautiful, do you have another copy of it?" And I said yes. And he said, "Great," and bent down and picked the dog sheet with the printed page on which I've written my story. And for me, it was a great lesson about the power of writing, because as I saw the printed page covered in dog crapping thrown in the garbage bin, I could see it in my brother's eyes that he was still thinking about the story. And that's when I realized that stories transcend the papers they're printed on. This paper can be destroyed, but they will stay on in the hearts and minds of the people who would read them.
Is there any reading that changed your mind forever when you were a child?
Well, I never considered writing, but I always loved reading. I've been a bookworm from a very young age, and as a child, the book that had the strongest impact on me was Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, and I think it had a very strong moral effect on me, because Huckleberry Finn lives in the South where there is slavery, and he helps an escaped slave. He helps hiding him and helps him to escape to his freedom. And I remember that when I read this book, the first thought I had as a child after finishing this book was that I was so happy to live in a country that didn't have slavery, or for that matter, didn't have any black people, So I said, it's so difficult, to live with this in your reality. And I remember that the same afternoon in which I finished writing the book, I bought myself a falafel, which is like a street food. And as I ate the falafel, I saw the owner of the falafel stand shouting in a very aggressive way on the Palestinian cooks that he had. And looking at them, I saw that it was not like a fight between my parents. It was not a fight between equals. It was a fight between somebody who held a superior position to the other. And looking at them, I realized that the Palestinian cook was not a slave, but at the same time that he was not equal to his Jewish boss, And this, I think, was the first moment in my life in which politics had entered my world, the world of a 9-year-old. And in that sense, I feel that books can have a very strong effect on our morality, and they can open our eyes to phenomena around us and make us see them in different light.
Any special recommendation?
I think there are so many great books, which I now rediscover through my son. We read Winnie the Pooh and Wind in the Willows and Alice in Wonderland and all those classics. And the truth is that when you read them to a child or read them with your child, you really rediscover the primal power of literature. Because I think that today, as an older man, I read stories, and I have my rationality and my knowledge as some kind of a fence or a wall that kind of defends or protects me from the infinite energy of a story. But when I see my son reads those children book, and their first introduction to this different world, to this world of imagination, to the infinite energies that are in stories, I can really see how a story changes him, how he goes to sleep full of this energy and thoughts and dream different dreams and wake up to a different morning. And it actually, being a father, kind of reinforced my belief in the importance of books in our lives.